Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Like you guys seen from the last clip, I picked up the Skunk2 Alpha Header for the 8th gen. So that's going to be going on in this video. But a couple other things here and there to put on. First thing to start on is to come over here. Obviously we got the 8th gen in here. You want to pull your cowl off, and then you pull the under bracing out so you can get to the back of the head. The reason that I went with a Skunk2 Alpha Header is because it seems to be the header to go to. Originally I was going to get the PLM V1 header, but for $150 more you can get the Skunk2 Alpha, and it has plenty more gains, so it was reason enough for me to get it. But I already got the cowl off here on the car, so we're just going to reach back and start pulling off the old exhaust manifold. So I figured we'd get at least one last sound test of what the car sounds like now with stock catback, stock exhaust manifold, but I did cut the cat out and weld a straight pipe in between, so there is that. Alright, that's enough. Alright, we got the old exhaust manifold off. Not gonna lie, I struggled with it a little bit just because they don't give you a whole lot of room with the subframe to remove the exhaust manifold. But here obviously is the stock manifold, the stock downpipe. You can see where I cut it and put a straight pipe in where the cat was. But quick comparison to the new one to the old. Definitely tell that the runners are quite a bit bigger and have more length to them, so that's cool. I wasn't originally going to do it, but I got a OEM, a new manifold gasket, and then some new studs that were supplied by Chris, so thank you, Chris, for that, even though I paid you with a bag of Gardettos. But I apologize, it's extremely hot today. Was it like 98 degrees today, at least?
At least.
It was hot. It was hot today. But nonetheless, we're getting it done. I don't know how much we're going to finish up tonight. If I don't finish up tonight, then we'll be back in the morning to get the rest of it on. But cool part about the Skunk2 manifold is it comes with the adapter so that you can run your factory catback. So that was one deciding factor for me to run the Skunk2. Because I still have my factory catback right now, and I'm not really sure when that's going to be changed out. I kind of like having a quiet exhaust, so we'll kind of see. But as soon as we get another update, we'll get you right back there. Here, come look under the car. Let's get a little view under here. Ton of room, but straightforward for the most part.
All right, I did in fact get the header mounted in here. Like I said, a lot of it has to be done by feel, but it's not too hard of a process. Right now I just took out my primary O2 sensor, which plugs in right there and goes behind the subframe, and I'm gonna go ahead and install my adapter harness here to extend it out to the hole that's now about 5 inches behind the old one. And another thing, my primary will be in this hole now, but my secondaries are disabled through Hondata, and I do have an AM Series X wideband that I think is going to occupy that second bung location there. Because when you're on Hondata, you can disable your secondary O2s for the catalyst. I mean, this car doesn't have a cat anyway, so it's useless, but if you're not tuned, then you will in fact have a check engine light. Another thing, they fit extremely snug in here. As long as you work with it, you will be able to make them fit. All right, I got it fully connected down here with the adapter on the factory catback, and they don't give you a whole lot of room to get a nut in here, but it's just enough room to fit the bolt facing forward. But like I said, having this adapter right here was a big help for me because I still have my stock catback, and I'm going to continue to run it for now. One thing I am noticing is this little bracket right here that held the primary O2 sensor is making contact, so I'm going to remove that and I just fastened my O2 sensor wiring with a couple of zip ties along the shifter cables right there and right there. So we won't need the bracket to hold it anymore. So I'm gonna remove that. And then I believe I can get the car down on the ground and start it up. I did bring my Flash Pro, so I'm gonna put it on intake header tune. And yeah, another thing that you guys may run into upon moving the old manifold that I forgot to mention, you may run into a little bit of room issues pulling it out. So you can pull out the bottom torque mount, and if you pull this bolt out of here and get a pry bar back here, you can rock the engine forward and get another 3 to 4 inches of room to squeeze your manifold out right here. And that is actually where I took it out of, right in this hole. You may think it'll fit out the back, it won't. You may think it'll fit out the front, it won't. Right here's the spot. Just take that bolt out of the dog bone mount and push the engine forward. The Skunk Alpha series did send this hanger, but looking down here, I know there's a couple brackets down here to hold in your catalyst secondary O2 sensor, and it just so happens that these bolt holes line up to that. So I'm assuming they want you to just remove the secondary sensor upon installing these and occupy that location for the new exhaust hanger. So let me just throw that on there really quick. Well, I guess they were studs, not bolts. But that's okay, I got a couple nuts. I am, however, going to put a couple washers on there just because why not? Maybe we ought to put the bushing on before. It's a lot skinnier than the factory bushing size, but I guess we'll just run with it for now. Must be something like that. These things do have a fair amount of rust on them, so we won't need any Loctite. Do it the backyard way, you know what I'm saying? You can take the mechanic out of the backyard, but you can't take the backyard out of the mechanic. There. That ain't much, but it's honest work. It adds a little bit of stability. Let me get you guys in for a close-up here. It adds a little bit of stability. Now the bushing is a little worn out on this one because this is my factory bushing, but that ain't too bad actually. For the O2 sensor, you guys can just go up and unplug it and reuse your grommet, or you can just zip tie it down here for now. It's really up to you. It doesn't need to go anywhere, but like I said, I'm going to be using that location for my wideband O2, and my primary obviously goes in the front side. So all right, one last look before I throw my cowl and top cover on, because you won't be able to see them after that. So I figure I'd give him one more look of them installed. All right, another thing here with the secondary O2 sensor. Originally, I was under the impression you had to take the center console off from up top to unplug it. But it's actually pretty handy if you're careful enough and you squeeze out the rubber grommet right here. It actually plugs in right there, and you can get a finger up there and unclip it through this hole. Now, as far as sealing that hole, you can either take the grommet off of this and put it back in place, or get some sort of new grommet or anything. You don't have to take the center console out. You don't have to take anything out. You can just bring your finger up there and unclip it from inside the hole. All right, wow, I can't see anything. Okay, there we go. So I just want to add that this is temporary. I have some rubber grommets back home that I'm going to use, but for the time being, I am going to use a piece of this ducting aluminum tape, small bead of silicone around this hole, and I'm just going to stick it up there, just temporary. And in the future, I'll bring it back down, peel that off, and add my rubber grommet. This stuff is actually really sticky already on its own, but for the added sealing, I did add the silicone up here. Don't know how well you will be able to see this, but it ain't rocket science. I'm just going around pushing it up. You guys get the idea. It's just to seal this hole up so that we're not smelling exhaust fumes inside the car. And that's gonna work temporarily. And another thing, I'm not taking the car home tonight. I am gonna throw a tune on it right this very second, but the car's staying here overnight, so that'll have plenty of time to dry before it sees any type of heat. All right, let's go ahead and open up Flash Pro. There's a new update, so let that go ahead and update, and then I'll be back. All right, I got the Flash Pro tune uploading right now to the ECU. If I end up doing a full exhaust, then it will probably get a no-name 3-inch exhaust back to the back, but I'm gonna cut the fart can off, and I have this vibrant muffler that'll probably go on because I want to keep it as quiet as possible. So that being said,
How's it going?
it's going pretty good. Just got the tune on the car. I had to go back through because for some reason it re-enabled my secondary O2 sensor, and obviously you guys seen that I removed that, so I have to just disable that, and we'll be back on the road here. Now let's try it. There. So that took care of our check engine light, so that's gone. Alright, now let's take it for a little drive. Gotta open the door. First impression, the car does seem to be a little bit deeper toned exhaust, but I have the stock cat back, so not a whole lot's going to change sound wise. The big change should be in the power gains. So I do notice that it's hitting somewhere. Definitely can feel a little more of the mid-range, but it's hitting on something. I can't tell what it's hitting on. Try a little pull with the window up. So that is a wrap, everybody. Skunk2 Alpha Header install successful. Definitely can feel a little more mid-range gains from it. I'm not so sure as far as the top end goes, but it is a 4.2.1 style. It's not a 4.1, so not a whole lot to be gained on the top end there, but everything went pretty smoothly. It's a straightforward installation. I definitely would have struggled a lot more if I didn't have a hoist to do it on. If I was working on the ground, that would have been absolutely horrible. But yeah, so hopefully that could help some of you, and definitely more videos on the Civic to come very soon.